Dana here with North Central Coins, and I am here in my favorite coin shop, Coins Unlimited, with the owner. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, I'm Robin Noyes. I own Coins Unlimited at 620 Niagara Street in Welland. We're located right across from McDonald's on Niagara Street in the north end. So we're just off the 406, easily accessible from the Queen Elizabeth Way to the 406, down Woodlawn Road to Niagara, so it's easy to get to. We have huge floor space, lots of displays with coins, and so a lot of people.
Not just coins, but jewelry too.
Yeah,
the coins are just one half. You got all that side of the store is all jewelry, which I have bought before, very fair priced as well. So how long have you been here for now?
So we've been here 10 years. I've been doing coins for over 40 years. So I started in 1980 at the peak of the silver. If anybody's out there and knows the story of when Hunts tried to corner the market back in 79, 80, and they took silver from about $1.50 an ounce and took it all the way up to $53 Canadian in a matter of 6 months.
Jeez.
So that in itself is a really cool story. If you wanted to, I'm not even sure where you would read about it, but I've read about it, and it's just unbelievable how they trick,
Market manipulation's been going on for a long time, right?
They just discovered that there was a shortage on the world of silver, and they tried to corner the market, and they almost succeeded. So they were on the way, and that's why they drove the price up to $53, and they had everybody who was upset with them, because back then Kodak was about the biggest purchaser of silver because they needed it for film in the film industry. Like every camera needed silver, so I think they were buying about 40 to 50% of the world's silver. So, and they always had to buy it. So the price of film and everything was going up. Anyways, it's a long story. We won't get into.
Oh, it's an interesting story though. Yeah, I might have to make a video on that in the future or something. But
it's pretty cool.
So I guess you got in like right at that time or a little before that time.
Yeah, so I got in probably at the peak. So silver was, I think it was about, they were paying maybe $12 per dollar, and it went up to, I think we paid as high as $24 per dollar. So it doubled. But back then, even when you were paying 24, there was probably about $35 worth of silver in a silver dollar. But the refineries were so far backlogged that anything that you took, because if you had an account and you were that big, the refineries, if you took your silver today to get it smelted, you weren't going to get settlement for 6 months.
So I've been coming here for a long time. Your prices are always really fair. I've actually sold you guys some stuff, and you've given me some really good deals. I sold a gold watch, got way more than I expected for it. I bought in scrap silver. So what is it exactly that makes you guys want to sell stuff for such fair prices as opposed to the competition like eBay and other big companies like APMEX and Silver Gold Bull?
So I think what it is because we've been in the business so long that we're like, a lot of people come to us to sell. So we end up getting way more than we can handle. So we just want to turn it over because we buy from the Niagara region, and so we have a large draw from a lot of people, and because we pay a fair price, it just keeps coming. Because like I said before, we're buying like an average of 3 collections a day, and there's some days we'll buy 10 collections. Yeah. Like I've had a couple times after hours that we've had these counters full, and we would sit here for 4 or 5 hours just buying a collection, and then the people, and I mean, you can't please everybody, but I'm going to say probably we're purchasing 9 out of 10 collections we're bidding on.
They're usually pretty happy with the prices you give them. And
like a lot of times we get the comment that, wow, really, is that how much it's worth? And I said, well, you can sell it for less if you want, just joking with them. But, yeah. Or sometimes we'll ask them what they think it's worth, and a lot of times we're way over what they thought they were going to get for it. Right? Because the best thing is that if you know what you're buying, then you can, and you're confident that it's genuine, you're confident about the grading, then you can bid high. But a lot of times what happens is people aren't sure what they're buying, so they have to bid low to make up for their mistake that they could possibly be making. For me, and I always tell my girls and people here, we try not to make any mistakes. Because if you don't make any mistakes, then you can pay the most, because you don't got to have that buffer in there for making the mistake, just in case, well, what if it's not silver? What if it's not gold? Because we have the testing machines that can test, and we've even had some of our customers that have bought fake coins and brought them in, and we helped them and said, why didn't you bring it in when you bought it? I could have checked it for you, because the worst thing is you don't want people to get burnt. And if they find out that somebody's selling counterfeit coins, then we can put that guy under. Don't let that guy get away with selling all these to everybody else, because we're all trying to help each other.
Yes.
We don't. Everybody wants to be fair, and I mean that's what I feel. I want to treat my customers fair, and I want them to treat me fair. And a lot of times when if somebody bought collections off me or bought coins off me for a long period of time, when they're bringing in that collection, I'm really happy because I'm thinking, wow, these prices, these coins are fairly graded, and I graded them like 10, 20 years ago, and I'm thinking, I'm saying, wow, this is a very fine, and so I'm, you know, it just gives you satisfaction to know that, you know, your grading terms are still what they were 20 years ago, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, grading is super difficult. We'll get so the company you use the most is ICCS. That's where you make most of your submissions.
It's not that we want to use ICCS. In Canada, there's really nobody else to use. They're the standard. That's what everybody recognizes. So unless you're going to the U.S., in Canada, they're probably the most reputable people. So they set the standard, and so that's what it is. So until somebody comes up and puts them out of business or does a better job at grading than they do, I think they're going to be the standard. But,
yeah. Well, they seem to be pretty fair in terms
right.
of like how, yeah, and like pretty on the mark for their grades. I guess they have some difficulties. I don't know if it's like with like George V nickels or something, but I guess there's a few things they're a little iffy with. But the one gripe that I would make, and I'm sure you would make, is their holders. It would be nice if one day they would upgrade their holders a little bit, because the ones they have are a little on the cheap side. But what are you going to do, right? It's the budget option. It's a lot cheaper than PCGS. Like, what is it? It's like $50 at least for a submission there. So
that's what it is. I mean, if they go to the hard plastic, and it's the equipment that they would have to use to encase them and everything else, and they would have to raise their prices. And it's not, they wouldn't be getting the markup. It's the people that are selling them the plastic would be getting the markup.
Yes.
So, and they would have to charge more.
I think that's part of what PCGS and NGC, like, I think their holders might be like proprietary to them. Like, they came up with them and they're revolutionary, and they probably trademarked them or whatever, or copyrighted them. But
So I just wanted to use this as an example of sometimes how you can, search rules or search bank stuff. We got our U.S. money from the bank, and this note happened to be in. Well, it wasn't graded. It was just this note happened to come in. So when I looked at it, I seen that it was something was peculiar about it because this was from Walnut Park. And when we did our research, Walnut Park in California is a town of about 18,000 people.
Yeah.
But for a town that small to convince the U.S. Treasury to print a note with their name on it must have been pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So then you can see by the serial number, they didn't make too many of these notes because this is number 586. So I'm not sure exactly how many they did make, but so this came in, and when we tried to do some research, it wasn't in the catalog. It was a footnote that they thought it was made. So we called the company, and the people that published the catalog, he was asking if he could use this as a specimen because they weren't even sure that this note was even made. So then we sent it to an auction house out in California, and we thought that was good because that's where the note came from. And he actually graded the note for me for free. So they sent it out to PMG, got the note graded, put it in the auction, and he said the starting bid should have been about $9,000 or $10,000 US. So I thought, great. I picked the bill up for $10. I mean, I was ecstatic to think I was going to get that much money. So I stayed up one night because it was on California time, so they were 3 hours ahead. So when the auction came out, but because it wasn't listed in the catalog or anything, it didn't even get an opening bid. So we were like sort of disappointed. So I told him to send me the note back, and then I'd wait till the new catalog got published, and that when this note was the one that was in the catalog, that people would be excited not only to own the note, but to own the note that was in the catalog. So I thought it would get more money. But then COVID hit, and now we're like 3 years later, so I'm still waiting, and now they stopped producing the catalogs because nobody was buying catalogs during COVID. So we still have to wait to see that it does get published. But we're still really excited to own the bill. And again, it was just a super rare find to being in the right place at the right time. To think that I picked this up for $10 US.
For face value.
Even the experts said that we should get about $9,000 or $10,000 US for it. So
that is it, because I'll see people online like coin roll hunters, and they'll go through bills. They'll buy stacks of like 1,000, and I've never seen anyone find anything like that.
Yeah,
so this is what I guess a holy grail find you call it, right?
Yeah.
Oh my lord! And so this is one of like the finest known examples of this bill, then I guess,
Yeah.
right? If not the finest example
Yeah.
that is known. And so we're guessing that it's probably less than 1,000, maybe 10,000. We have like the other zeros here, which might give us like an indication of how many was made, but we don't really know anything. It's just such a mystery, right?
Yeah.
It's but $9,500, and you said it could go for up to 10,000 at auction.
So and it's not only it's not rare because it's a $10 bill. It's not rare, not because of the serial number or anything. It's just because of this small town produced, and it's a very rich place. Like Walnut Park, California, is a very rich suburb in California. So they, maybe somebody there was related to somebody in the house, and they convinced them to print these notes, and
Yep.
so they probably made a very small quantity. Because even in American standards, like their numbers are way higher than our numbers.
Their mintage figures.
Because if they're making a million, that's like a low mintage to them. Where us, that's a super high mintage.
But they also have some hidden gems. Like I wouldn't call them hidden, but like their commemorative state half dollars and stuff like that, right? They have that kind of weird stuff that they do. So this almost falls in like a bill category of that, but much rarer, I would imagine.
But this wasn't made to be rare. Like back in the day, I mean, they probably just spent it.
Yep. It was probably made for like a carnival or a festival or something like that, or that's usually how. Yeah, it's just it's an accident, a happy accident or whatever they call it.
And then somebody
right?
imagine somebody accidentally spent it, and how did it make it to Canada?
Yeah,
that's just really, really weird.
Yep, that's crazy. And then what do you got over here? We got some just assorted silver.
Oh, this is basically probably the best-selling stuff on the market today. Like this is our Canadian maple leaf, which is second to none in the world for security. The thing with this is because it has this little, they call it DNA sampling, because we're a DNA dealer, so we have a machine that can detect this tiny little maple leaf here. So this is detected, so when we put it in the machine, it sends a signal to the Royal Canadian Mint directly. So within 15 seconds, they pick 10 points off of this leaf, and they scan their system, and they can say exactly what day, time, what line this coin was made